Hi, I'm Denise. Thank you for watching my video. Today I'm going to talk about the two sounds, sh as in the word she, and zh as in the word measure. I will talk about how to make these sounds. I will tell you which letters make these sounds and give you example words for each of those letters. I will give you several words to practice with me. Of course, I'll pronounce them for you first. I will give you some more words to practice, which will help you to compare and contrast the sounds s with sh and z with zh. Some people confuse those sounds. I will then give you a short quiz, and I will give you some sentences to practice with me. So, let's get started. We'll start with how to make these sounds. To make these two sounds, we raise the front of our tongue towards the roof of our mouth. Let's pretend that my hand is my tongue. This is the front, so I raise the front part here. It's not the very tip. Don't curl your tongue like that so that the tip is up. We're going to raise the front of the tongue, okay? Towards the roof of the mouth, but not touching, and also not touching our front teeth, okay? The sides of the tongue can touch the back teeth, okay? Some people do that, that's fine. But don't touch the front teeth. So we raise our tongue, then we have to round our lips, and we push air out over our tongue. Watch while I make the sounds, please. This is the first one. Sh and zh. Second one. Notice that my lips are rounded. Sh, zh, sh, zh. So my tongue is rather high in my mouth, but again, it's not touching the roof of my mouth. I'm blowing air out over my tongue through my slightly open teeth, but my lips are rounded, okay? Shh, zh. The difference between these two sounds is that the top one is voiceless, which means that my vocal cords do not vibrate, and the bottom one is voiced, which means my vocal cords do vibrate. If you feel your throat area here, you will be able to hear the vibration, you'll be able to feel the vibration of your vocal cords when you make the voiced sound. This is the voiced sound. Zh, zh. Just press lightly around your neck so that you can feel your vocal cords vibrating. When I make the first sound, the voiceless sound, I don't feel vibration here because my vocal cords are not vibrating. I'm not using my vocal cords here. Shh, shh. Let's alternate. First the voiceless sound, no vibration. Shh. And the voiced sound, vibration. Shh. 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 She, measure, okay? Some people confuse these sounds here with these sounds that I have on the right. Some people confuse the sh sound with the s sound, and they may confuse the zh sound with the z sound. Both sh and s are voiceless sounds, and both zh and z are voiced sounds. The biggest difference between these two and these two is the rounded lips. Notice I have written rounded lips above these two, so this is sh, zh, and lips not rounded for these two, s, z. Let's practice these sounds this way. Watch my lips, please, and you try to do the same thing, okay? For these sounds, we will round our lips. For these sounds, we won't. This is sh, s, sh, s, sh, s. And now these two, okay? J, z, j, z, j, z. Sometimes we see this sound, sh, represented by the letters sh. And sometimes we see this sound represented by the letters zh. Well, I've written a couple of sentences down here, and I've used words with the letters sh. These sentences are to help you remember that these sounds require rounded lips, okay, like that, and these sounds do not have rounded lips. Take a look at these great sentences. Fish push their lips out, okay? Seals smile. So fish ends in the sh sound, this sound. The word push ends with the sh sound. So that's to help you remember you need to round your lips, okay? Fish push their lips out, okay? They may not really do that, but it's a cute little sentence, right? Okay. Seals smile. So seals and smile start with s, and the lips are not rounded. Okay? Now I'd like to talk about which letters make the sounds, and I'll give you some example words for each of those letters. Here are some letter combinations which often make the sh and zh sounds. The letters on this side often make the sh sound, and the letters on this side often make the zh sound. These first four letter combinations most often make the sh sound. They occur most often. And these, they do occur often, but not quite as much as these. These are more common. On this side, these first three letter combinations most often make the zh sound, and these not as often. So let's take a look. So we have the letters sh, as in she. Sh almost always makes the sh sound. I do have one exception over here, but really most of the time you can assume that sh is making the sh sound. Ti very often makes the sh sound, as in ratio, or in many other words that end in tion, like ration. So ti very often makes the sh sound. Ci also very often makes the sh sound. Here's one example in the word special. There are many other examples which we will see very soon. SSI usually makes the sh sound, as in this word mission. Notice here I have two S's and an I. It's almost always sh. But sometimes when we have one S and an I, we can also get the sh sound, as in the word pension. Usually though, if it's one S and an I, we'll get the zh sound, as in vision. But I will give you a few examples where SI makes the sh sound, as in pension. SSU usually makes the sh sound, as in issue. Then we can have one S and a U. And in a few words, SU also makes the sh sound, as in the word sugar. CH can make the sh sound, as in the word chef. then we have a few oddballs down here. XI is in the word anxious, anxious, so we get the sh sound. In the word ocean, we have the letter C or the letter CE, making the sh sound. And in this word, nauseous, the letter S or SE is making the sh sound. This word, though, also has another pronunciation. It could make the Z sound. And there are some related words to this one, which can make either sound and some other sounds. So this is a real oddball. These up here are the ones that most commonly make the sh sound, okay? But these, as I said, also can often make the sh sound. Let's take a look at these, all right? Here we have SI making the j sound, as in vision. SU making the j sound, as in casual. Over here I had it making the sh sound. So some of these, when they occur on both sides like this, does mean that you will have to really memorize each word individually. For example, this one is sh, sugar. This one is casual. But by having the letters here, you can see, or that gives you a clue, that you might be getting this sound, okay? GE often gives us the word beige, especially at the end of a word, as it is here. ZU does not occur real often, but when it does, it's usually the j sound, as in seizure. And here are some oddballs, okay? This one, TI, in the word equate. Actually, these three can be either sh or zh, but they are usually zh. So that's why I put them in this column. This one is equation. It's almost always the zh sound. A few people might pronounce it with a different sound. SH, this is cashmere. It's usually pronounced with the zh, but it can be either. And in this one, XU makes zh, as in the word luxury. It can also make the sh sound for some speakers. So I know this is a long list of letter combinations, but with some practice, I think, and in the next section, I think you'll be able to recognize the sound much of the time. Please be aware, though, that these letters and letter combinations can make other sounds as well. For example, CH can also make the ch sound, as in the word check or teach, okay? Ch. It can make a k sound, as in the word character or chaos. So, and that is the same with many of these others. Yes, they do make other sounds, but very often they make sh and zh. And I hope by the end of this video you will be able to recognize those times when we get these two sounds, okay? By the way, if you are interested in other sounds that some of these letters make, you can look at some of my other videos. For example, I said that CH can make a k sound, while you might be interested in my k video or in my ch video, okay? And others as well. Let's take a look at these letter combinations with words in a different organization, okay? And I hope that it will help you. Here's another way to look at the letters that often make the sh sound. I said that the letters CI and TI often make the sh sound, and when they make this sound, they often occur in certain word endings. I've written some of them up here for you. Here I have some words that end in the letters CIAL, and here I have some words that end in the letters TIAL. CIAL is pronounced show, and TIAL is also pronounced show. These endings are pronounced in exactly the same way. Here we have special, financial, official. And here I have essential, initial, and partial. So I hope you can see that I do have the letters CI here, making the sh sound, and the letters TI making the sh sound. Well, with these letter combinations, we have the exact same sounds, okay? So show, special, essential, financial, initial, official, and partial. We often also get CI and TI in the word endings CIAN or TIAN, and this is pronounced shun. The ending starts with the sh sound. So I have electrician, musician, physician, and dietitian. They all end in the shun word ending, okay? So again, CI, TI are making sh as part of this word ending. On this side, I have words which end in CIATE or TIATE. Here I have the word appreciate. So again, the CI is making the sh sound. Appreciate, depreciate. And over here, I have the same sounds, but this time sh is being made with the letters TI. This is initiate and negotiate. So this ending and this ending sound exactly alike. Appreciate, depreciate, initiate, negotiate. Now I have written just CIA and TIA. Well, these letters occur up here as well, CIA, TIA, but the difference is here they are followed by other letters, not always the letters TE. Okay? Let's take a look. This is sociable, sociable. So the CIA sounds like sh, sociable. Here, TIA also sounds like sh, inertia, okay? Here I have CIA followed by shun, so I actually have two sh sounds in this word. Appreciate, shun. There's another sh sound with the TI. Appreciation, and you can see that this is related to appreciate, of course, up here. Over here I have initiation. I also have two sh sounds in this word, both made with the TI, sh and sh, okay? Initiation, and this is related to the word initiate up here. And then I have negotiation, also two sh sounds in this word. Negotiation is related to negotiate. So down here I have the letters CIA or TIA followed by other letters. Sociable, appreciation. Inertia, initiation, negotiation. And here I've written an exception where CI does not make the sh sound. This is the word pronunciation. Here the C, the letter C, is making the S sound, pronunciation. So these are some examples of word endings when the letters CI and TI make the sh sound. Here are some examples of words where the letters CI and TI are followed by the letter E. The words above the line do have the sh sound, and the words below the line do not have the sh sound. These words are ancient, efficient, sufficient, patient, patience, quotient. Notice that most of these words end in the letters I-E-N-T. So here I have C-I-E-N-T, here I have T-I-E-N-T. So with this word ending, we get the sh sound. This one has a slightly different ending. It's patience. It doesn't end in the letter T, but the first four letters are the same. This word has two pronunciations. It can be pronounced as species with the sh sound, and also as species with the s sound. Species is a very common pronunciation, and that would be this one. So that's why I included it in this list. In these words down below, we have some words, agencies, cities, and duties, which are plural forms of other words. This one, for example, is the plural form of the word city. I've written them up here to show you that when we take a singular word like this ending in Y, and we make it plural, we change the letter Y to IES, and in this case, this ending will not sound like sh. So when I've made a plural of a word like this, which ends in Y, the ending is not the sh sound, okay? So these are just examples of words that do not have that sound. This is the plural of the word agency, which ends in CY. This is the word duties. This is the plural of the word duty, okay? Here are two other words which do not have the sh sound. This is the word science. So the beginning of this word has SC, and we just get a S sound. This one. Science and society. In this one, the letter C gives us the S sound. Okay? But when TI is followed by E, or CI is followed by E, we very often get the sh sound, especially with this kind of a word ending. Here are some more examples of words with the sh sound. In each of these three columns up here, the word ends in ON. Here I have one word, suspicion, which ends in CION. The words in this column end in TION, and I've added some SI words. The words in this column end in SION, or two S's, SSION. Regardless of the spelling, each of these is pronounced shun. This is suspicion, option, pension. So the pronunciation of these endings is the same. CI and TI followed by ON are pronounced shun. Suspicion, option, education, information. And SION can also be pronounced shun, as in these two words, pension and tension. Previously, I told you that the letters SI can also make the zh or voiced sound, and those letters can make that sound. I'll show you some of those later. But in a few cases, SI makes the sh sound. When we have two S's, though, as I mentioned already, SSI, this sound does make these letters do make the sh sound, okay? So this is discussion, profession. So most of the time we get two S's followed by I to make this sound. In a few cases we get one S, okay? Let me just read all of these words for you again. Suspicion, option, education, information, pension, tension, discussion, profession, okay? Here is one exception, the word question. This does not make the sh sound. Instead, TI here makes the ch sound. If you are interested in this word or similar words, please see my video about the ch sound, okay? Down below here, I have words with different endings. Each of these words down here ends in OUS. In this column, I have the letters CI followed by OUS. In this column, I have TI followed by OUS. And here I've added XI followed by OUS. These endings all sound the same. They all sound like shus, okay? This is delicious, precious, spacious. Here we have ambitious, cautious, nutritious. And these last two are anxious and obnoxious. So the ending all sounds like shus, okay? Word endings such as these have the sh sound. Here are some examples of words which have the letter S and make the sh sound. Over here, I have some words with the letters S-I-A. This first one is pronounced fuchsia. Notice it also has the letter C-H, which can also make the sh sound. This word has one sh sound, so I've chosen S-I-A to make that sound fuchsia. This one is controversial. It can be pronounced with the sh, the way I just did, or also with an s sound, controversial. I pronounce it controversial, so I've included it here, and that's a very common pronunciation. It has S-I-A. Notice that this ending, the complete ending, is S-I-A-L, and previously I showed you some words with the endings C-I-A-L and T-I-A-L. So this one is very similar. Here is one exception, the word enthusiasm. S-I does not make the sh sound in this word. Instead, the letter S makes the z sound. Enthusiasm, okay? Here I have some words with the letters S-S-U, and the S's make the sh sound in these words. This is issue, tissue, pressure, okay? They all have the sh sound. And here I have two words with the letters S-U, and in these words we have the sh sound. This is sugar and sure. Notice that this word sure occurs at the end of the word pressure. And here's an exception. The letters S-U here do not make the sh sound. Instead, these two letters make the sounds s and w. This word is persuade. Persuade. S-w. Okay? Suede. So this is an exception. And I have one more word with the letters T-I. In this case, T-I is followed by U. This word can be pronounced consortium with the sh sound. It has a second pronunciation, which is without the sh, and instead has a t sound. Here are some examples of words with the letters SH and CH, which make the sh sound. As I said previously, the SH letters almost always make the sh sound. I have given you one exception down here, the word cashmere, which is most often pronounced with the j or voiced sound, but it can be pronounced with the sh sound. All of these words have the sh sound. This is she, shoe, shop, cash, fish, and push. Okay? Shh. Here we have words with the letters CH, which make the sh sound. This is charade, chef, Chicago, machine, mustache, and brochure. In each of these words, CH is making the sh sound. The letter CH, however, can also make the ch sound and the k sound. I've given you a few examples here. These three words make the ch sound. This is cheap, check, chew. And these three words make the k sound. This is chaos, character, chrome. If you want more information on these, please see my other videos, my ch or my k videos. This video, of course, is about sh. Here are some words which make the zh sound. The zh sound is the voiced sound. So we use our vocal cords to make this sound. Okay? I'm finished with the sh or voiceless sound for now. Okay? Just for now. These two words have the letters S-I-A in them. This one is amnesia, j, and anesthesia. Okay? So both of these words have the voiced j sound. Here are some words with the letters S-I-O. We have seen these letters before, but this time S-I-O is making the j sound. Previously, when we saw these letters, they were making the voiceless sh sound. Okay? So these are the voiced sound. This is version, vision, confusion, decision, television. Okay? So in each of these, SI is making zh. Now, I've made some notes down here for you because we have previously seen SI. When we have one S, we usually get the zh sound. And that's what I have up here. Notice in each of these words, we have only one S. So when we have one S, we usually get zh, this sound. Okay? But sometimes when we have one S, okay, sometimes we get sh, or the voiceless sound. And we saw this previously with the word pension. This has the sh, voiceless sound. When we have two S's, we get sh. And we saw this previously in the word profession. Here are some more words with letters that make the voiced zh sound. Here I have words with the letters SU, and here I have words with the letters GE. We have seen the letters SU already when they made the sh voiceless sound, as in the word sugar. Here they're making the voiced sound. This word is casual. This is usual. And this is measure. So they're all making this zh sound, and these two letters very often make the zh sound. By the way, when we have these words contained in other words, they still make the zh sound. For example, I could have the word casually, it has zh. I could have unusual, or I could have usually, other words. I could have the word measurement. So we still get the same sound for the SU. Here we have three words with the letters GE, and the GE in each of these makes j. This is beige, collage, mirage. These letters often make the zh sound. These below don't occur as frequently, okay? These occur frequently. These two words have the letters ZU. We have seizure and azure. Here we have two words with the letters XU. This is luxury. This is luxurious. Actually, these two words can be pronounced in two ways. The letter X makes two sounds, and with the XU, we can either get the two sounds g and j, which are both voiced. That's the way that I pronounced these two words. Or we can get the two voiceless sounds, k and sh. Some speakers do pronounce these two words with the voiceless sounds. So let me pronounce these with both for you, okay? First I will use the voiced sounds, and this is the pronunciation that I use. This is luxury. This is luxurious. Let me say that again. Lug gets the g sound. Luxury. Luxury. Luxurious. Okay? We don't stress the g. I'm just doing it so you can hear it. Okay? And the pronunciation with the two voiceless sounds would be luxury and luxurious. With k, sh, luxury, luxurious. Okay? But I pronounce them this way. This is just one exception to the pronunciation of the letters TI. In this word, equation, the TI sounds like j. Equation. Okay? If you'd like information on other sounds that these letters can make, please see my other videos. I have lots of videos with the letter S, the letter G, the letter X, the sounds, G and K, many others. Please take a look if you're interested.